Nirmal Purja's Project Possible wrapped up in just 6 months and 6 days. But was it more than just an incredible mountaineering feat? Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Allie.
And I'm Brianne. I'm running on iced coffee and skepticism today, which is to say, a normal Tuesday.
I'm buzzing, because today is peak human performance meets maybe a little shadow play. Welcome to the Veil, Unsolved and Unbelievable. Okay, so check this out. Today we're diving into my theory about Nirmal Purja's Project Possible. I think it doubled as a covert tri-nation test of rapid access and communications. Project cover on the world's highest stage.
Conspiracy alert. You're saying record-shattering mountaineering plus a secret op at 8,000 meters. I mean, my calves hurt just hearing that, but also really.
Let me set the stage first. Nirmal Purja, NIMS or Nimsdai, is Nepalese British and ex-UK Special Forces. He grew up with very little of Magar descent. His family struggled and his brothers were Gurkhas. He joined the Brigade of Gurkhas in 2003, and in 2009 became the first Gurkha accepted into the Royal Navy's Special Boat Service, a cold-weather warfare specialist unit. That's like operating calmly where most people's brains would just shut down. He had an insane learning curve in the mountains. Lobuche East in 2012 with basically no prior mountaineering experience, Dhaulagiri in 2014 in 15 days round trip, Everest by 2016, then a stack of 8,000ers in 2017. He was appointed MBE in 2018 for high-altitude mountaineering. Then he did the wild thing. He turned down an SAS invite, resigned from the SBS as a Lance Corporal, and gave up a life-changing pension to go full-time mountaineering.
Which, by the way, suggests a clean break from the cloak and dagger stuff. Just parking that breadcrumb for later. Sorry, not sorry.
Project Possible launches in 2019. 14 8,000ers in under 7 months. He completed it in 6 months and 6 days with supplemental oxygen. Annapurna to Dhaulagiri to Kangchenjunga. Then Everest, Lhotse, Makalu in 2.5 days. That Everest overcrowding photo he took went mega viral. Then Phase 2 in Pakistan. Nanga Parbat, Gasherbrum 1 and 2, K2, Broad Peak. Phase 3 included Cho Oyu, Manaslu, and the problem child Shishapangma in Tibet, which was closed for the season. Chinese authorities granted a special Shishapangma permit in October 2019 after a request by the Nepali government. He left for Tibet in October with a 5-member team, and they summited later that month. Boom. 14 done. Later, a historic first winter ascent of K2 in 2021 with a united Nepali team, in which he was the only one to summit without oxygen that day. He kept pushing. By 2024, he set the fastest aggregate time to summit all 14 with no oxygen, and in 2026, he clocked an Everest to Lhotse traverse without oxygen in 13 hours. He founded the Nimsdai Foundation and the Big Mountain Cleanup. And yeah, we have to say it. He died in an avalanche on Broad Peak in July 2026 at 43. Absolutely gutting.
An extraordinary life, records, leadership and serious logistics. No argument there.
All right, moving on. My theory? Project Possible wasn't just an athletic moonshot. It was also used as a live stress test of rapid response communication and fast-track access across borders. Not spies rappelling off seracs, more like, can 3 governments quietly synchronize when minutes matter?
So let me get this straight. Nepal asks China, China says okay, and because NIMS used to wear fins and a dry suit for the SBS, suddenly we're in a Tom Clancy novel at 8,000 meters. I call BS.
Hear me out. Shishapangma was closed. It opened for a single, tightly scheduled window after a diplomatic request. The team was tiny and tight-lipped. 5 people. They moved with surgical precision in and out. And this was on the heels of an Operation Tempo year. Helicopter hops, pre-positioned gear, perfect weather window exploitation. It looked like a field exercise with fixed milestones. Even his background screams comms discipline, cold weather survival, and risk execution under time pressure.
Or wild idea, it screams professional expedition with elite Sherpa partners who are the best in the world at rope fixing, forecasting and moving fast. You don't need a black budget to explain competence.
Okay, next up, the rhythm around that permit. Picture this. It's the dead of night in Kathmandu when a call comes through. Permit cleared now, not next week. Minimal chatter at the border, the right liaisons in place, radio etiquette crisp, base camp footprint small, no circus, no leaks. Summit day ran like a watch. The theory says that wasn't luck, but a corridor test. How fast can a friendly, high-visibility team be whisked through a closed zone when the right phones ring?
Or a high-profile climber got a one-off diplomatic exception that was openly documented, and then he did what he always did, move fast and clean. The Netflix film literally shows logistics and weather calls, not code names and dead drops.
Yes, the permit was public as an exception, but the test could still ride piggyback on a public process. That's the elegance, right? You hide the signal inside the noise. And NIMS had a postgraduate diploma in security management. The guy knows structured planning. If I were crafting a proof of concept for rapid access in high-altitude borderlands, I'd pick a team like his. Compact, disciplined, mission-timed to the hour.
You're basically describing impeccable project management, which, to be fair, is very sexy to me. But it's not evidence of a covert trial. It's evidence of a world-class athlete with a brilliant logistics brain and partners to match.
Back to the story. Consider the trifecta. 1. A seasonal closure opens for a narrow corridor. 2. A 5-person team with almost zero spillage in an era of leaky social feeds. 3. Grinding precision in a place where chaos is the default. Put those together and... doesn't it at least feel like a systems test?
It feels like top-tier professionalism. Also, if this were a secret tri-nation comms test, why hitch it to the most public mountaineering story of the decade? He posted. Media followed in real time. He even took that viral Everest Q photo. Worst cover ever.
Because public cover is perfect. Everyone's watching the summit ticker, not the back-channel choreography. NIMS's reputation put Nepali climbers at the center of history. That national pride moment on K2 in 2021, all those teams uniting and singing the anthem before the summit, showed how coordination can be bigger than any one person. That's exactly the spirit you'd want if you were pressure testing cross-border coordination.
You're romanticizing collaboration as clandestine calibration. The K2 Winter Summit was hard-won teamwork after storms wrecked camps, no spooky comms drill. Also, he'd left the SBS in 2018 and publicly said he was all in on mountaineering. He tied later goals to philanthropy, the NIMS Dye Foundation and the Big Mountain Cleanup. That's transparent, not covert.
Totally hear you. But I keep coming back to the timing and the quiet efficiency. That's where my belief lives. Not that he was a spy, but that someone, somewhere, looked at his moving train and said, perfect chance to test how fast we can open doors without announcing it. My theory, not proven. But isn't that bananas if true?
Here's the deal. Alternate explanations. 1. The Shishapangma permit path was reported as a diplomatic exception at Nepal's request. 2. His climbs were highly public. Real-time posts, interviews, a Netflix film. That is not how you hide a state trial. 3. The small team and clockwork logistics are standard for elite outfits, pre-positioned ropes, Sherpa partners like Mingma David and others, helicopters where allowed, and brutal weather discipline. None of that requires intel handlers.
But the optics of a closed mountain opening still nags. The 5-person squad with radio discipline, exact departures and nothing extra reads like an exercise.
Or like mountaineers who don't want to die. Crisp radio, light footprint, and leaving on the minute are survival behaviours at 8,000 metres. The point is, all your puzzle pieces have simpler, boring explanations. Incredible athlete, elite Sherpa teammates, supportive diplomacy, and a ton of very public scrutiny.
I mean, yeah, boring explanations exist. But when the stars line up this neatly, I can't help but ask if there was a secondary mission humming under the main one. I'm not saying NIMS was in on any covert angle. I'm saying his unstoppable train could have been used as a timing test by folks in the background. My theory stands.
And I'm saying extraordinary doesn't automatically mean orchestrated. Sometimes humans just do the impossible with a spreadsheet, a weather map, and lungs of steel.
Back to the facts. What we know for sure. He shattered timelines across the 14, helped deliver a unifying Nepali triumph on K2 in winter, pushed no oxygen standards later, and used his platform for big mountain communities. Whether or not any quiet corridor got tested along the way, he changed the sport.
The unanswered bit: where exactly are the limits of human performance, and how often do states ride along on civilian achievements without ever saying so?
If you want the closest seat to what it looked like, watch 14 Peaks. Nothing is Impossible on Netflix. It's intense, beautiful, and it shows the machine behind the miracles.
Right, moving on. My plan after this is tea, a blanket, and pretending I'm acclimatized while I watch other people climb.
I'm gonna, redraw my corkboard thread map of this theory, and maybe make popcorn. Can you imagine doing 2 8,000ers in a day? My legs say no. My heart says yes.
Thanks for listening, friends. Send us your take. Covert corridor test or just elite logistics?
Rate, review, share with the mountain nerd in your life, and keep your eyes open because the world is weirder and more amazing than it looks. This is The Veil. Unsolved and unbelievable. See you next time.